properties of the marshmallow. Capiche?
Kapoo!
Someone tell me where your voice should be during Science Power. Gabe?
Silence.
On the silent, on level 0. Right. We're already there. Okay. You're going to have about 4 minutes to make your observation of your marshmallow. Are you ready?
Yes.
Guess what? You just said a property. Squishy.
Squishy.
Good job. When you hear the timer go off, it's going to be the girls' turn to share with the boys. So the girls are going to stand up, bring their packet to a boy, and share their answers. Also with some classification, which means, remember, putting things into groups. Classification, yep. Putting things into groups, remember? So you're going to actually put these solids into groups based on their properties. So for example, let's pretend that Gabriel and I are partners and we get this card. Pointy or round. On this page in your science packet, you're going to make the 2 headings here. Pointy or round.
Because we're putting it pointy because the part right there, it's like pointy, and then the part right here too, it'd be a little sharp. Yeah.
And why do you think doing this is important?
Because maybe it would be, someone thought it was never pointy, and then we could tell them that you were wrong.
I think it's important. It helps us learn.
I think it's important because
It helps us learn
I
because
think this is important because
it helps us learn what matter is.
yeah, and what's slippery and like
What's not slippery and what's furry and what's not furry.
and what's rough and you can slip on it.
Like the sand.
Stick song.
And you can tickle. You can like use this.
We should look something.
Sticky.
Why it's important, why we did this, why is it important? When I say solids, turn to a friend and tell them. Ready, set, solids. Close out our lesson. Lucy, loud and proud.
Because you might need to do it in like
When you have a job, how would you need to do it? How would you need to classify it?
you maybe if you're a grocery person and you need to start
That's true. You might need to classify the fruit based on its properties, right? You can think that a banana is long and yellow, but an apple is short and red. Properties of solids. Great job, Lucy.
Great job, Lucy.
Yes.
I think matter is important because it could help us around our life and if we don't have it, if we don't have gas, and air, we might not breathe, and if we don't have liquid or solids, it would be like
I definitely think right now they're probably on interested and hardworking. And what I'm doing to try and get them to passionate, urgent, joyful, and caring is actually the scientific notebook. And this was something that I found at a training for science teachers. And instead of just giving them like a succession of worksheets that seem really disjointed, you actually preload templates for them to make their own scientific drawings and observations. And this creates like an authentic document for them to look back on and a record of their own learning. And we can actually see, if we look at Alexander's notebook, his notebook is really filled out and really thoughtful. Whereas if you look at something I did earlier where it was more a worksheet with multiple choice, fill in the blank, that type of thing, it's a little bit less well done. It shows his mastery a little bit less. So I think trying to make authentic work products for the kids is really what's going to move them. So I think that going through this process of reflection and responding to your reflection is important, because as teachers, there's never any ending point. We can always get better and make things better for our students. So one thing that I've learned is that in the beginning, I was relying very heavily on direct instruction, and I thought that that was the only way to get them to mastery. But what I found is that they had memorized what I had said, and they could fill that out on a test. But when it came down to it, they couldn't really articulate it in their own words. I think my biggest priority to help students like Alex in the next couple of weeks before the end of the school year is going to be to make sure that I'm positively engaging them in the content by always affirming what they're doing, always affirming their work. For example, during the lesson when Alexander said that the piece of cloth was cozy, instead of saying, "Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for," I tried to push him to stretch that thought and explain, "What do you mean cozy?" And then he did give me the property of warm and soft. So validating their work, letting them share their work with one another and with me, I think is having the kids share out their work once they finish it. Because like I said at the beginning of the year, I would just have them do independent work, and then it would just go by the wayside, and I'd be like, "Okay, class is over, goodbye." And now whenever they do anything, I like to let that drive the instruction. So they're sharing it with their partner, they bring it back, they share it with me, and we use their work to get to the teaching point. So, and then what would I start doing? I would probably start working more specifically on the closing of the lesson. That's something I've been working on with my induction coach a lot, because the closing is where you get to bring it all together for the kids and explain, why was this important and how is this going to connect